Boy, it truly feels like it all rolls through perfect game. Follow me here. When you think of elite arms that are traveling their way through college baseball into the big leagues, you saw them. You saw about 85% of them as they were drafted at perfect game events. Hi there, folks. My name is Darren Sutton, and we're going to celebrate the class of 2023, the Arms. This is our class review, so settle in, grab a notebook, pen or pencil, and take some notes, because this is going to intrigue you as you look ahead to the 23 high school season, and then in the summer, the 2023 MLB Amateur Draft. Now, I don't share any of this great information with you without the great writer, the great scout, and national cross-checker, Brian Sykora. Brian, thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Happy holidays, happy new year, all the good things we need to talk about as we head into the 2023 baseball season.
Of course. Happy to be here, already jumping at the bit to see some high school baseball. I'm ready for it to get going. So, ready to go. When
it gets going, Brian, there's a couple of guys in the top 10 that are interesting athletes, and I want to ask you about. First of all, there's a left-hander, Thomas White, and he was a 14U Select Festival athlete. He came upon invite to Perfect Games National Showcase, was an All-American, opted not to pitch in the All-American Classic. Gosh, when he pitched at PG National, you kidding me? I mean, it was crazy, it was ridiculous. Young man is a Vandy commit. He's out of Massachusetts. He's at Phillips Academy, Andover. That's all the basics. What else can you tell us?
Yeah, White is what it's supposed to look like, for lack of a better phrase. This is a guy who no one's really seen a ton of over the years. He's kind of kept it a little more close to the vest as far as his performance on the national stage in the summer circuit. No fault with that. This is a 6'6" lefty who throws really hard. It's not like we need to see him 12 times. We got that. Thomas White is good. But yeah, there's just so much to like about the profile. It's pretty easy in terms of the operation. It really is easy gas. We've seen mid-90s with some favorable metrics on the pitch. He's got a little bit of a lower release height, which helps him with the fastball in spite of being 6'6". The slider has come on. We've seen it kind of in that solid average range at its best, but when you're throwing a solid average slider at 17 years old, that usually portends pretty well to how you're going to throw when you're 22. But yeah, there's so much to like about Thomas White. He's huge, and he's left-handed, and he throws hard, and he can spin a slider, and he has a fresh arm, really. So yeah, just so much to like there.
Oregonian, talented right-handed pitcher, a young man, Noble Meyer, who's at Jesuit High School in Portland. Mick Abel came out of that program. Head coach Colin Griffin, really enjoy Colin Griffin, passionate about his athlete. But tell us about Noble as he climbs inside the top 10.
Yeah, Meyer was the revelation of National, I guess you could say. We'd known about him. This is not like the first time anybody had ever heard of Noble Meyer was when he stepped in the mound at PG National, but we had never seen him the way he was at PG National. There was 96, 98 in the first inning, like not a fastball below 96 with a slider and tons of spin and just exploding baseballs past hitters. And then it dipped a little bit in the second inning, but not a whole lot. And when you talk about big, free-moving, easy arm speed righties, this is the boxes that are checked. And that's Noble Meyer. You could easily see him throwing 100 miles an hour. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if he had already. The slider continues to make strides. It's very good metrically. He's got a changeup. It's the full mix. It's what you want it to look like I said about Thomas White too. But that's why those are the two guys that we argue about for top arm in the class. Those are the two. Those are the guys who've established themselves a little bit of a cut above the rest.
So if there's a maybe for Meyer throwing 100, there's a for sure for Travis Sykora.
Yeah.
The big Texan who's got some swagger when he walks into any ballpark, stadium, or complex he walks into, worked his tail off to get to that number. Let's make it clear. At PG's All-American Classic, he touched triple digits, the old 1-0-0, and he had been planning and hoping and dreaming and working to get to that point. Here's a story of the big Texan, Travis Sykora.
I'm Travis Sykora. I'm from Texas. I'm committed to Texas, and I'm a right-handed pitcher. Well, I try to be super intimidating and aggressive up on the mound. I want people to know that I'm up there and I'm trying to dominate.
A lot of presence on this mound as he fires the first fastball at 99 miles an hour. 99 for strike 3.
I think probably 13U is kind of when I realized I had a chance to maybe go somewhere and play competitively. I had a good arm and I had a great hand-eye coordination with hitting, and I think I just kind of knew that maybe I had a chance to play at the next level. I had a goal, and my goal was to commit to a D1 school, and I think I worked very hard for that. Every day going in the backyard, working hard and not getting derailed and staying focused.
100 miles an hour.
14U, which was, I was probably mid-80s. It was good, but it wasn't great. And that's kind of when we realized I needed to start getting bigger and put on more weight. 8th grade, I was really skinny. And I mean, I was getting hurt and I couldn't perform at the top level. So my mom, I was really grateful that she put a lot of thought and time coming up with a plan with eating and working out. A lot of steaks, a lot of whole milk. We had a lot of whole milk. It's a lot of calories, just thick, dense food. And I had so much of that, and I still do, but it really helped. Now it's just been trying to maintain it and stay healthy, and that's just the biggest thing, just keeping my body healthy.
Skipped it in there again, 100 miles an hour. That's good old-fashioned hardball. 100 a handful of times this inning. Wow.
I guess when I committed and I started to want to make it to the next level, that was my goal. I mean, to throw 100 as a pro, but it came earlier, so it was pretty cool. It was an awesome experience, and it's still cool to think about. I mean, I remember I grew up right next to elementary school, and there was a little baseball field out there, and me and my brothers, a couple friends, we'd go out there and just play baseball all day. I mean, we'd be out there all day long, and it was a blast. And that was before I started playing organized baseball, but it was just awesome. And just a love for the game, just throwing the ball and hitting the ball is awesome. So, real grateful with all God's done for me and helped me with.
So scout him up, Brian. I mean, right? I mean, that kind of confidence, it's good, it's healthy. Dude still thinks he can hit, by the way, and he probably will hit some this spring. But so what are we looking at? I saw the documentary Facing Nolan. He's the hard-throwing Texan. It was so much fun. Now you can talk to hitters about facing Travis throwing 100. You sit in the stands and watch him. What do you see?
Yeah, it's, even a casual baseball fan, if I were to say to you, like, all right, big Texan power-armed righty, you would basically draw up what Travis Sykora is. And it's fine if you draw it from watching Nolan Ryan in that documentary. I watched it as well. It was outstanding. That's not a player comparison, obviously, but there are some similarities. He's huge. It's very much like snarl at you, I'm going to strike you out. And if you don't, we might fight, type of a physical presence on the mound. There's an intimidation factor there. He throws harder than everyone else, including that 100. We've seen him throw 99 a bunch, so it wasn't that big of a leap, I didn't think. But like the improvements his sliders made, it's kind of more of a shorter, horizontal, almost cutter look right now. But it's effective off of the fastball, and he's shown a good ability to throw strikes. Usually, guys who are all about max effort and velo and hat flying and trying to throw it as hard as we can, maybe there's not refined command. But with Sykora, we've seen him consistently throw strikes, and he puts his fastball in good spots, even beyond the velocity. Him pitching up in the zone is what he should be doing, and he does that. So has an understanding of what he needs to do, and then goes out and executes it and does it with great stuff.
Texas earned his commitment, as we said earlier. Central Florida, mid-major school, earned the commitment of a man 6'5", while Sykora is 6'6", by the name of Charlee Soto. He really has raised his hands to you guys and said, hey, look over here, I'm over here, and has climbed up the ranks. Now here he stands inside the top 20.
Yeah, he's a great example of we don't have to know about you at 13 for you to be highly ranked, like something like that. This is a guy who, like you said, so you really kind of hit the nail on the head. This dude stood up on top of the table, waving his hands, screaming, hey, I'm really good. Come tell the world. And we were like, oh, okay, sure. And every time we've seen him, it kind of got better. He's really, really young for the class. I think he might be the youngest player in the class. Still going to be 17 at draft time. It's long and lanky and spindly and athletic and fast, and the arm speed will wow you. He's already in the mid-90s with the fastball. The breaking ball is plus at times. It's a little erratic at times, but that comes with being a 17-year-old arm speed phenom who still is growing into his body. So this spring, I think, following an off season of in the weight room and kind of getting his body right and getting more comfortable in his movement patterns, we could see him fly up. We might not have even come close to scratching the surface on what Charlee Soto is.
So Liam Peterson, perfect game All-American, top-tier ruse, his travel team, Florida Gator and a Florida commit. You guys talk about the big arm. Here's another mid to high 90s, guys. But you also spoke of his spin and his breaking ball. So I find myself intrigued about both.
Yeah, Peterson, usually guys in Florida, like we have such a presence in Florida, like you know about these guys early. And I hadn't seen Peterson a ton coming into this summer, but obviously well-known player. But this is a guy who kind of grabbed my attention right away, and every time I saw him, I kept like liking him more and more and more, even reflective or even relative to where he was ranked. The breaking ball is a big reason why. He can really spin the baseball. It's high spin stuff. It's also high spin efficiency on the pitch. There's a lot of metrics that point to it being an excellent pitch outside of just the raw spin numbers. He can command it. He throws it for strikes. He has the absolute utmost confidence in the pitch. And not to mention, he's consistently climbed in velocity over the course of the summer, too, towards the end when he was 93, 95, or whatever it was. But yeah, that's a guy with a lot of helium, a lot of up arrows next to his name, just based on how he went from good to really good over the course of the summer.
So Cameron Johnson, I'm excited about. Left-handed arm, LSU commit to go see Jay Johnson. And again, another mid-90s to high 90s arm. Yep. Yet he looks like, with the strength and the physicality, he could throw right there on the front line. You're not far from the Cleveland Browns. He could stand up there and block for the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. This is a real massive presence on the mound.
Yep. It's a left-handed Sykora, if you want to look at it that way, just from an intimidation perspective on the mound. They're obviously not even close to the same person. That wasn't any sort of comp, but like, you know, big dude who's snarling at you on the mound and he's going to throw the ball by you. There's some similarities there. Johnson obviously being left-handed is helpful. And this is a guy who, one of the things that stands out most to me in my memory of seeing him is someone who kind of understands how to pitch himself out of situations that maybe not a lot of other teenagers have. Like there's a lot of times when we've seen his fastball command kind of elude him, even at 94, 96 with a ton of life. Sometimes hitters take pitches that are balls, and he'll get himself behind in counts or let some runners on. He has the self-awareness and the knowledge to know, okay, well, I'm just going to throw sliders now. No one can touch that. I'm commanding it better. And then we'll go back and figure out the fastball in the next half inning. And that's how he gets himself out of jams without allowing runners. But I'm impressed by that sort of presence of mind on the mound, not to mention the fact that he throws 97 left-handed with a good slider. So, you know, it's just something that sticks out for me is his ability to self-evaluate on the mound and self-correct.
The next arm we're excited to talk about climbs not inside the top 10 or 50, but just inside the top 100. Chase Meyer has that Seth Lugo-like, if you really follow baseball, spin rate, and Lugo may be his best ever this year, signing a free agent deal. We shall see. But Meyer, when we caught up with him, we did so at Jupiter, Florida. He had an edge. He hadn't committed. He was looking for a scholarship. Here's that conversation of a young man who's looking for a place to play, high skill set. Who is he?
I'm very intense on the mound. I'm very locked in. I like to talk to myself. I'd kind of say like I'm an animal on the mound. I do have a God-given arm, but God-given doesn't get you to 99. I'm a fastball pitcher mostly. I'll throw the fastball until somebody can hit it. That's kind of just me. I like to attack the zone. I like to attack the hitter. I like to get ahead when I can. If you're not going to be mobile, you can't really throw that hard. So a lot of hard work and mostly stretching. Like a year ago, I'd probably say I stretched for 5 minutes. Now I got to get up in the morning, stretch. Before we get on the bus, I'll stretch. Before the game, stretch for an hour. So I can just really know that my legs and my arms, my back, everything's just going to be loose when I'm up there, and then I can be feeling good. I like to sing to myself when I'm in the groove. Same song every time. Sun to Me by Zach Bryan. Not going to show off my vocals right now. Probably about 3 years ago, I wasn't doing too good, and I was like, all right, just calm down, just be yourself. And then started throwing strikes again. I was like, all right, I guess I'll do this every time. Just talking to myself just calms me down, make sure that I'm not getting angry, make sure that, because when I'm angry, I'm not going to throw well. So as long as I'm calm and loose, then everything should go the way it's playing. And then one time I was doing really good, and I felt a song come in my head, and I just started singing it, and I was like, all right, well, this is also something I do now. Like off the mound, as soon as I go in the dugout, don't talk to me. I like to just sit there. I like to be in my own world. I like to stay locked in. And when I'm on the mound, catcher, do not talk to me. That's all I can say. I'm just locked in. I mean, it's nothing personal at all. It's just something to make sure that my groove and everything is staying how it is, and that I can stay calm and that I can stay like together. My goals in going to college are, I would say, get a good degree, because if baseball does not work out, I still need to have a job outside of that. And secondly would be to see how hard I can work, because college is a different level. As you mature, you'll kind of figure out what you like, because you are going to spend the next 4 years of your life there. You're living there. And they do work every day, sun up, sun down, so it's pretty intense. So if I was going to go there, just get the good degree and figure out how hard I can work and how hard I can push myself.
All right, so I asked the question, who is he going into it? I loved getting to know him. There is an edge there that's super appealing. West Virginia, by the way, was his selection. That's where he opted to commit. But again, who is he, you tell me, as a scout?
It's huge stuff. When you think of just pure stuff, Chase Meyer's name has to enter your mouth when you're talking about this class. We've seen him in the mid-upper 90s with the fastball. There's good spin metrics on the fastball. The breaking ball is hellacious at times, along with the corresponding data that checks out. There's occasional struggle with strikes and overall command. The effort and the delivery may say that he's probably going to have to pitch out of the bullpen, at least to start at West Virginia. But that doesn't take away from the competitive edge. That doesn't take away from the stuff, like we talked about. He's got huge stuff. He's going to miss a ton of bats as he continues throwing more and more strikes. He'll get bigger and bigger opportunities, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if we're talking about this guy as a top draft pick out of West Virginia. He's got that kind of caliber of bat-missing stuff.
I'm kind of excited that you mentioned you wanted to talk about Josh Knoth, because he's another unique arm.
Yep.
It was touching, really. That's the best word I can come up with, to watch the baseball world embrace him while his dad goes through some pretty serious life-threatening illnesses, and they embraced him. And all the All-Americans did at the Classic. So Josh, a gutsy kid with what he's gone through at home. You're talking about him as a pitcher. Is it that same kind of big spin as well?
Yeah, there's some similarities there. You could make and we will at some point this spring, do a draft article simply talking about spin rate outliers. And he's one of them. He's a guy who can really impart spin onto the baseball, the curveball up over 3,100 or whatever it was at some points. It's just the combination of like that sort of rare ability, along with all the projection boxes that he checks in terms of how big we think he's going to get, how much strength he'll add, and subsequent velocity, and the things that we like otherwise, the athleticism in his delivery. All of those things coming together points to a huge kind of future, and it would even with kind of average spin stuff. Like all those boxes checked, we would still like Josh Knoth as a player. But you had that sort of advanced, unique outlier ability to spin the baseball. Now we're talking about him as a little bit different of an upside guy.
Midwestern alert, Brian's on the show. Cam Tilley is from Indiana. He is an Auburn commit. We've seen him, 93, 94 PG events. Mm-hmm. You want to discuss him. Why is it you want to discuss him?
Yeah, I had to get a little Midwest flavor in the arm show, of course. This is me we're talking about. He's a neighboring state guy in Indiana who I will see in the spring. Hey, just a guy that I liked watching him pitch for Artillery in the summer. 93, 94 at times, sits a little lower than that. It's a good body. He can spin a slider. He throws a splitter as his changeup, which is a little bit unique in and of itself. Kind of a split change action on the pitch. But I just like the combination of bat missing stuff. I've seen him have outings where he's truly in pinpoint command too, and that's something else that obviously we like to see. But just a guy with a high upside who I think that we could talk about a little bit more. That's why we wanted to do it on this show.
Yeah, Max Stanley is another one. Before we rapid fire you some questions. I like Max again because, as we've talked about on other shows, you get a guy in the Rocky Mountains, maybe it's a little harder to stand out. He's chosen to stay close to home. He's committed to BYU. I'm not sure of his fate. There may be a mission involved, but as of right now, this athlete's committed to go to BYU. Drew your eyes and your colleagues' eyes to scout him up. Why did they?
Yeah, it's actually my understanding. Stanley was committed to Texas A&M, and it's my understanding that it was his faith through the Church of Latter-day Saints that led him to actually switch his commitment to BYU. But that's obviously a different story. But Max Stanley, the player, just a guy who checks every projection box that I personally like. There's a real interesting way that he kind of locks his lead leg out as he's driving down the mound. I think that guys who are able to do that move at an early age usually end up throwing really, really hard. So I'm just like that in terms of the velocity projection. I really like that. He kind of has, sometimes we talk about throwing with cut as a negative. He throws with cut in a positive way because he spins a gyro slider off of it. He can turn over a changeup. He's super skinny, he moves well. I'm buying the makeup, I'm buying the projection. I think that even if it's going to take us several years, we're going to be talking about that guy as a pretty high draft pick.
All right, 20 seconds on the clock. Here we go, rapid fire, and go. First arm that comes off the board in the draft.
Charlee Soto.
How many Preps arms go in round number 1?
3.
20 years from now, a full generation from now, who is the guy that we're going to be talking about? Hall of Famer from this class.
Thomas White.
Ooh, Brian, good stuff. All that in 21 seconds. Well done by you. I think the host could have asked a little bit quicker on the questions. Thank you for your insights, man. This is a fun senior class. You and I have had a great year being around them and having them on our content. You've watched them so many other events. And have a great 2023 high school season. I know you're chomping at the bit to see him play.
Absolutely. Thanks again for having me, Seth. It's a great class.
All these rankings, all this information, visit perfectgame.org. And if you're watching us right now on perfectgame.org, grab your smart device like this one, and you can download the app Perfect Game TV. It's 24/7, 365 days a year. Live events, great stories, and insights from scouts like Brian right here on Perfect Game TV. We'll see all of you at the ballpark this spring. Until then, he's Brian. I'm Darren. Have a good day.